Hey everyone, thanks for watching Get Lit with Mitch. We're so glad you chose to be here. I am Mitch, I'm a literary agent, and I am here to talk to you today about the types of publishing. If you are an author or an aspiring author, I would love to talk to you today about the multiple ways that you can publish a book. So let's get going. So let's get started with traditional publishing. Typically, traditional publishing is designed for a publisher to buy the book of the author. Now that includes advances, that includes royalties, that includes a lot of different things that come behind it. What once was traditional publishing, which was a little bit more free-flowing, a lot more money's out there, anymore there's a formula that you have to follow with a traditional publisher. And usually that is based on how many followers that you have, how many active following. Not all followings are created equal either. Is your following active? Are you speaking in public a lot? What is the audience that you are seeing on a regular basis? Those are the things that they're looking for in a traditional side. Gone are the days of getting a 6-figure, 7-figure advance on the get-go. You have to have a lot of things going for you, and there's a lot of things that have to happen in the process. Finding the next Harry Potter author, those aren't really around anymore. So right now they're looking at following. So if you have around a standard 250,000 followers on a social media, that's kind of the base standard to be looked at from a traditional publisher side. Or you're an Olympic gold medalist that just got off the Olympics. These are things that we look for. What are popular culture? What are things that are happening right now in the news that people are interested in? So it's not just about the following, it's also about what's going on in the world and what the other publishers have already bought. Sometimes I could bring multiple authors with a similar stance, a similar idea, and they decide to pick one of the many that I have to offer. So it's not a total guarantee, but that's kind of the nature in a nutshell of what traditional publishing looks like. The next one is the hybrid method of publishing, and that's a combination of both. You still have a publishing house, kind of a embedded publishing side of things, usually through a literary agency like ours that has our own publishing arm, and then you share the cost of that book process. Sub-edit, line edit, text edit, cover design, all the things that are necessary to get your book to publish, we now handle within that publishing arm. And it's a little bit more hybrid style. The reason being it's called hybrid is because you're still agent managed. You would still have me as your literary agent. So I would still sell your product, and I'd still take opportunities to potentially, once your hybrid book does well, sell it traditionally on the back end, or your second book, because we've shown a proven track record of sales. Those are some key things you want to look at. Now, here's some positives to hybrid. You own all your own content. So you are not beholden to any editor, any publishing house. You get to decide what happens. So if you want to do an e-course, if you want to do a masterclass, those types of things, you have the freedom to do that with your own content. A lot of traditional deals have caveats where those rights are held by the publisher or partially held. So you have to share in those revenues. So making sure that you protect your rights, that's number one. Number two, speed to print. Typically, a hybrid model takes between 5 and 6 months to publish, to being live. A lot of traditional deals take between 1.5 to 2 years before it even sees the light of day. So keeping that in mind has a lot to do with, it depends on who you are and how you want to do it. Some authors don't have the following, but they still want their book to go out, and this is how you do it. So it still reads, looks, and feels like a New York Times bestseller. So you're basically set up so that you can sell your book and it look professional and good. That's how it works. So ultimately, it's speed to getting out there, ownership, and here's the cool part. All the royalties on the back end of that deal. Now, this is how we do it. Some hybrid deals are not like this. Sometimes they do a revenue split. But in our case, how we do hybrid is you hold all of the royalties. So every book you sell, you get the maximum amount of money back to you, which is a very cool financial benefit. So what would normally, if you sell a book traditionally, let's say you sell 5,000 books, usually you get $2 a book net. Once the advance is paid off in traditional sense, once the advance and the traditional is paid off and all the expenses that they put into marketing and that type of thing, you'll get around $2 a book. So you sell 5,000 books, that's $10,000. But in the hybrid model, you would get more like $10 to $15 a book, which means that would then be $50,000 to $60,000 that you would receive. And so the type of people that we see that want to do this are people that want to get their stuff out quickly. They want to benefit on something that's going on. They want to capitalize on something positive that happened. Let's say they were on a reality TV show, or they are very popular right now. They were on Dancing with the Stars. I've had a couple people like that. This is the time to jump on that. Or if they were part of a singing show, American Idol, these are opportunities to capitalize on the popularity of who they are. So those are things that are very important, especially when you want that book out quickly so that you can maximize your popularity while you're doing it. And hopefully, once you've maximized your popularity, then something like a book solidifies you as a real person, not just a guy or gal that has a ton of influence and following, but somebody that has some significance. It's a great tool in your tool belt. So it does benefit you, not just in book sales, but also in speaking engagements and opportunities to go to podcasts and talk about this new book that you have. So it does help the media cycle to be able to present yourself. So that's the appeal of a hybrid model. There's also the appeal of, let's say you don't have a following at all. Let's say you're not capitalizing on anything, but you really want this book out and you're willing to put time, energy, and effort into building your brand, building the marketing piece. That's what we see a lot of people doing in the hybrid model. Is it's a brand building opportunity so that it allows them to build their following. Now, they're going to sell a lot less books initially, but it does build on to the next step, which is ultimately building popularity, getting your story out there, getting significant things out there that you want to tell. That's the hybrid model, and those are some benefits that go along with that. The third way to do it is self-publish. Now, that's where you're not utilizing the hybrid model. You're not utilizing a publishing arm like ours. You're not selling it traditionally. So you go to self-publish, where you pretty well go directly to print, and then you own those books, and then you distribute those how you want to. A lot of people do this as a legacy piece. A lot of people just want their own book out there, and some people have their own following enough to go, hey, I can sell 3,000 copies, 5,000 copies, and I'm okay fronting the cost to all of that. Or the quality of the book isn't as good as it would be if it went through the hybrid process, making sure that everything's aligned. It does look self-published in a lot of ways, and people can tell. So that does hurt the process of self-publishing. There's also something that's becoming very popular, and it's the print-on-demand model that Amazon has. I've seen people be somewhat successful doing this. The problem is the quality of print is not as good. You just usually find that the quality is just not up to standard, and it doesn't look like a New York Times bestseller. So it really depends ultimately on your goals. So what I'd always suggest is talking to a professional. I'm always open to talk, so if you have a question or comment, please make sure you like, subscribe, comment, share. I would love to talk to anybody that's an aspiring author and help them walk them through the process of publish, because this is the best part of my job, is seeing a real dream come to life. Thanks so much for listening and watching. This is Get Lit with Mitch. We'll see you next time.